friends, as you guys can see from the title, today we are doing our Shop My Stash for the month of March. So I try to pull out some eyeshadow palettes that either are newer to my collection, haven't really been played around with, or I've been neglecting for a little bit and wanted to bring them back out just to use them and enjoy them in collaboration with other project pans and as well as my Pandos eyeshadows. So I don't go past 10 palettes per month. That's at least my limit. I think 10 palettes is enough for me to get a little bit of use out of the palette, but not overwhelm myself with the other kinds of shadows that I am working on. So I believe I have 10 this month. April may be a different story because I'm already slacking off. So anyway, if you're interested to see how many uses I got in each palette and what I pulled out for the month of March, stay tuned. Okay, you guys, so I know that this video isn't one of my favorites videos that are the ones that get the most views on my channel every month, but I do like to do this specific one. I've always said it because one, it reminds me of what I'm using. I can reference back to these videos and I can see what palettes I'm using, and it also reminds me that I do love what I have and I don't need to get the latest and the greatest, and I want to share that with you guys and motivate you guys to shop your stash, enjoy what you have. You guys, I have not had the ounce or the urge to look at new makeup releases because I'm having so much fun just shopping what I have and using what I have each month, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. So I have my 10 palettes here. I have a variety of different things. I made it a point to use certain ones more often, so I'm actually very excited to share this one with you guys. Okay, so at the bottom of this category, these palettes that I'm going to share with you guys first are ones that I've only used one time this past month. First and foremost was the Dose of Colors Cutting Edge one. This one is a 5-pan palette, so it's not even an actual full-on palette, but it is a nice palette, and I really did like this one. The only shade I didn't use was this shade right here, this orange one in Sundown. All the rest I did end up using, and I really enjoyed it. This shade right here is one of my favorites. I believe this one's called in Cameo. I like this one a lot. And then just these deeper ones, it's just one of those palettes that I really do enjoy. I just like the combination of it, the look that I get, and her shades are beautiful. You guys, this past month in March, I have been falling in love with an all matte eyeshadow look. What is wrong with me? What is going on? I have no idea. But you guys know I am an open book when it comes to me evolving and changing my tastes on here. I make it very clear when I change my taste, but that doesn't mean I don't like what I've originally liked, unless it just looked terrible on me. But I still love my shimmery metallic stuff, but I have been really embracing an all matte eye look. I don't know, it just looks so nice on me this past month, and I really have been using that one a lot, and this one just helped me to do that more. Another one that I only used one time was the Star Wars Mandalorian palette by ColourPop. This is the one here. I don't know, I'm kind of on the fence about this palette. I liked what I did with it, but it's not something that I'm like, whoa about. I could see myself at some point maybe letting go of this palette. It's just, I don't know, something about it just didn't get me in the mood of it. I used this shade, this one, and this one, like all these green ones I ended up using. I didn't mind it. I'm not gonna say I hated it. I think I need to have more time with it, and I did not allow myself to give myself more time with this one because the one time I used it, I was like, oh, it's okay, but it didn't give me that want to reach for it more. So maybe in the future, I'll pull this back out and just play with it on its own to see what else I could do with it to really see if I want to keep this one or not. This is the only one this month that I felt like I could let go, but I'm not 100% with it because I didn't give it the opportunity that it should have gotten because I gave other ones more opportunity. So I only used this one time, but I might end up letting this one go in the future. The other one I used one time was this one. This is the Give Me Glow Juicy Olive, and oh my goodness, I remembered why I love this one so much. The color, the look that I came out with was just beautiful. Beautiful. And I had no problem blending the mattes out. I didn't have a patchy look. Beautiful look. I ended up using these two greens down here, and I ended up using actually both shimmers. I don't think I used either one of these two at the top, but mainly these four right here, and the look was just stunning. I loved it. I loved it. It doesn't look like a lot and it doesn't look like a gradients of color, but once you play around with them and put them on your eyes, I was just like, oh yeah, this is why I purchased you. And I'm so glad I did, because this is one, looking at it, I would have said, you know what, I can let that one go. It's similar in tone. It doesn't have a variety to it. But once you put it on your eyes, I was just like, oh, now remember why I still keep you around. Okay, the next pile are palettes that I used twice this past month, and for a good reason, I'm so happy with it. So first and foremost was the Natasha Denona Mini Gold. Pulled this one out, I used this one twice. One time with shimmers, one time all matte, and it's just so beautiful, so beautiful. Everything about it I really enjoy. I used this shade out here, the one time, this green one, this one surprisingly in the pan looks like a brown, but once you put it on your eyes, it gives a green hue to it that's just beautiful. I used this one all over the eyes. That's it, one and done, and it was beautiful. Really like this palette, and I'm so glad I kept this one too. I pulled this one back out. This was gifted to me by one of you guys. Thank you so much. And I wanted to pull it out to give it more of a chance to play with it. The first time I played around with it was just more on this side. So this time I ended up bringing it in for more on this side. And I did use it with the shimmer, and then I did use it with all just a matte look. And you guys, these two shades right here are my favorite greens. They're just beautiful all on their own. Oh my goodness, I really do like it. This is a beautiful formula in the matte version. I'm not saying the shimmers are terrible, but if I were to choose, I prefer the mattes in here. They're just really, really pretty. And when you blow them out all over your eyes, I'm telling you, I was all about the all matte look. And these two shades right here, beautiful. Really like this one. Pulled this one back out. I had used this one in January and I only used it one time, so I wanted to bring this out to use it 2 times. One time I used it on camera for my members, and then the second time I used it just for one shade because I really, really wanted to put it all over my eyelids, and I loved it. So I ended up using this one all over the lid, and oh my gosh, I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I'm gonna say that I prefer the Odens eye mattes over the shimmers. I'm gonna say that because the shimmers have a lot of fallout, they crease on me, they don't last, but the mattes, just an all matte look, was beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Really enjoyed it. I got to get to know this palette a little bit more with the tones and things. I will say, I think at the end of the day, I actually like the mattes better. But yeah, I used this one twice. So now overall this year, I've used this one 3 times. So that's surprising to me. I could not do an all green look without pulling out this palette this month. So this is the Yucca palette by Natasha Denona. And again, very, very beautiful, unique color story that she came out with. So for the first time around, I ended up playing around with this shade up here, the Pandora, I believe it's called, right? Oh no, Plantasia. I think it's called Plantasia. I don't know if that's right or not, but that's a shade I put all over the lid. Beautiful all over the lid. It gave a nice sparkle, gave a nice look to it. And then I went back to use more of these tones right here. I ended up playing around with these in Assistant with other shades that I had, and I really, really liked it. It's just a beautiful shade. I used these out here. The only shade I didn't use was like this one. I did want to go back and play around with this shade right here, but I did not get the opportunity to do so. This is a beautiful palette in conjunction with other palettes as well as on its own. It's so beautiful. Really liked it. Really appreciated this one. I'm glad that I pulled that one out as well for 2 uses. Then this one, you guys. This is the Nomad Oca Venga Safari palette. Now this one I bought last year around the holiday season, and I only played around with it once. This time I played around with it 2 times. You guys, this shade right here, all over the lid, all by themselves. Oh my goodness, I love this shade. Love this shade completely all over the lid. That was one look I did. And then the other look, I ended up pairing this shade right here and this one right here with the greens around here. And really did like it. This color I really do enjoy as well. So I played around with mainly this row here. This color's another one that I really enjoy. And then this one. Oh, perfection. Love this one. I could use this one all over the lid every day and be okay with it. I loved it. Loved it. I haven't played around with these right here. This type of orange is not my favorite, so I don't know if I'll get much use out of that one. But out of the whole entire palette, this is really the only one, and maybe the silver one. Other than that, I do like all the rest. So I might pull this back out for the summertime to play around with these top ones, but I really did like this palette as well. All right, another one that I gave a chance is the Sydney Grace. What is this one? Heaven on Earth. And this one, you guys, okay, here's another matte version that I did and I loved it. I ended up using all over the lid this shade. This one, it's like a metallic, but I used it softly all over the lid for work. It's so beautiful. My goodness, I loved it, loved it. This shade is definitely one of my favorites in this. And then I ended up using like this row right here with this one. Very, very pretty. I avoided the blues just because I wanted to stick more around these colors out here, but really like this one. Again, Sydney Grace is one of my top favorite formulas. They work well, they blend well, they're smooth. You can add glitter if you want to them. You can wet them and make them look metallic. It's just beautiful, sophisticated kind of formula. So I really like this one as well. Okay, last but not least, the one that took the cake this month that I used 5 times this past month. 5 times I ended up using this palette was the Danessa Myricks, the Groundwork one. Now I got this one in January for the Beauty Bay Lucky Bag. And you guys, I have fallen in love with this palette. I just can't get enough of it. At first I was like, okay, this ain't showing up on my skin. Like, come on. This is gonna be hard to blend in. I thought I couldn't pick it up with a brush. It felt like I just couldn't pick it up with a brush, but then as I'm blending it in, I could see it on my eyes. I will tell you, this is my favorite shade. I use this one a lot right now because it's more of a cooler tone, but I can see myself gravitating towards these right here pretty soon. This is a palette I can see myself pulling out each month and rocking it. Remember that whole matte eye look thing that I was telling you guys about that I was rocking? This palette was probably the reason why I got into it this past month. It's just really, really pretty. Blew me away, did not expect it. Thought that this creamy, putty kind of formula was not going to be my thing. Really fell in love with it. Easy. It really stays on my eyes, does not crease, does not fade, and it blends like a dream. It picks up with whatever kind of brush I have without me having to dig in it, and it also works with your finger. She did a phenomenal job. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I have yet to play with these little powders over here, because I've only been sticking to these putty formulas. I have yet to play around with these powders because I'm just having so much fun with these putty kind of formula. Really pretty. Very, very pretty. I can see myself having this palette. Like, this is the reason why I didn't buy the Patrick Ta Major Dimension 3, because if I have this one, why do I need that one? And this one is just a little bit more versatile because I can use it all over the face, on my brows. It's a one and done. I can see myself traveling with this. I can replace these shades. It's worth it to me. It was worth it to me. She came out with a new version, the pinky purple version. I'm on the fence on that one because it has pinky purples. I'm not somebody who uses those tones often, those hues. So I'm not really 100% for it, but this one, absolutely, absolutely. I love this one. So I'm not surprised that I used this one 5 times this past month. I would have used it more if it wasn't for my Pan Those Eyeshadows and my deck of panning that I have going on that had shadows in there that I had to use up. So I would have had more use out of this one. Okay, you guys, so this past month, I made it a point to rotate through some more palettes instead of pulling out some newer ones. There are palettes that I thought about each month. I have a mental note of the palettes that I thought about pulling but did not, because that's also for me an indication that I am thinking of those palettes but not pulling them out, that they're still in my brain, they're still processing that I did want to pull them out but just did not have the opportunity because some of these are newer, didn't get to play around with them as often as I want to, or I've actually neglected for a year that I want to pull out. So I am keeping a mental note as well of what palettes I'm thinking about each month, because that's also going to allow me to decide if I am going to let go of things each month or at the end of the year when I decide, all right, what haven't I really touched? What haven't I really thought about that I could let go of? Because I do have some palettes that I may completely have forgotten about, but in the back of my mind, some other ones do come up. So I am actually very excited. I'm very happy. I have an idea of what I want to pull out this month coming up. I'm going to see how I do because I'm getting a little bit, chill, relaxed now that April's around, the weather's warming up. I'm doing a lot more outdoor things, so I'm not using as much eye makeup as I normally do. So we'll see what comes out of this. So I'd love to know what palettes you pulled out this past month. In the month of March, did any of these palettes really grab your attention? Maybe you can dupe them in your collection, the vibes of them, pull things out that are similar. And I'd love to know what you guys pulled out because it reminds me of other things that I may have in my own collection. Thank you guys so much for watching and for enjoying this video. I'll put more videos on the screen for your enjoyment. Until then,